A very good evening to all of you. Hello, everyone. This is Mihir from Manomav Engineers. We are gathered here for the 18th Pratham meeting to learn about design by innovation and innovation by design. For this 18th meeting, Mr. Antariksh, Antariksh uh, Tavar is moderator. So I would like to give a brief introduction about him. He is the co-founder of Manomav Engineers and currently heading business development in Manomav. He is a civil engineering graduate from IIT Delhi and a certified project manager, BIMs from RICS UK. Apart from this, he has also authored books Rapid Project Delivery Protocol 2.0 and 7 Magic Steps of General Manager. I now request him to tell us brief about Manomav uh, and uh, uh, to, to, today's guest of honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mihir. And I welcome all. And we used to have initially Pratham used to have in the morning, we used to have good morning Pratham. So now we can say hey, good morning Pratham. And I heartily welcome you all on this great evening on the 18th Pratham meet. And I would like to tell you the specialty of today is that today we have Utssav with us, and he is a very esteemed guest. And before going to the Pratham, I would like to uh, tell you about Pratham, how we started and what is Pratham. So Pratham is a leadership and a learning platform where we have an expert from the industry who shares his knowledge and skills with the community. So the agenda is to share the screen, share the skills and the expertise in our construction community. And it is one of the unique platform where we all collaborate and learn about new technologies, management techniques of construction industry. So I would like you to support this forum also because it's a completely non-profit forum where we are establishing it just for the learning community of construction industry. And it is organized by Manomav Engineers. And Manomav Engineers is a leading engineering and management consultants of India. And we are working on a variety of projects. Manomav and its team is working very hard to implement latest technologies and management practices in Indian construction industry. So we have 60 plus team members and we have served around 50 plus clients and over 125 plus projects till date. So I would like to give a brief about Manomav also. I would like to show you a video, a short video on that. So how and what Manomav is doing, I would like to show that video and then I will get back and give stage to Utssav. So Abhinav, can you please start?
Welcome to the world of Manomav engineers. We have grown from a family of 5-6 members to 60 plus members in last 8 years while working with brands like SDFC, Gabriel, L&T, Shapoorji Pallonji, Tata Motors, Avicom, to say the name, and we have worked who are there in field of construction. Last year has been very special to us, and the reason is we have transformed ourselves the way we used to work. We are working on all the building projects as of now, and now the way we work has been transformed, and I will share the glimpse about it with you right now, with which we are building the footprints of Manomav engineers. Let's get more into it. How do we manage the construction? So Manomav has a system which are based on two type of monitoring systems. One is known as flow monitoring system and second is checklist monitoring system. And both these systems are accessible to our team from the back end with a navigator. So something navigator looks like this, and this is the flow monitoring system in which we make sure that all these steps are happening in a flow which are there. Similarly, we have a checklist monitoring system which is again available in our navigator, in which people work in a timely manner when any tasks come on a day-to-day basis. And all this system is very well integrated with the WhatsApp. So you are seeing my WhatsApp. It is having lot of follow-ups on which whatever work is happening, all the follow-ups is happening for all the meetings. We can see all the information about any project, even raise the concern, and we can do unimaginable thing using this WhatsApp feature, which is very well integrated with our Manomav systems of checklist monitoring system and flow monitoring system. When we say about the systems, it talks about the individual dashboards which we have created for our engineers, where they can go and see what work they have to do. So we make sure that our customer gets the experience what we have committed to them. In same line, we have created a customer launch from where they can raise the ticket, they can refer us, they can even see their project details up to the minute level. And when I say minute level, it is up to the minutes of meeting which are getting followed up on a very strong manner with our systems. They supercharge the meetings, supercharge the meetings. We monitor all the efficiencies, how our company is doing, how the projects are doing, with all the timelines when we talk about the processes or the implementation of our systems. Every process is monitored on the efficiencies at the individual level or the total level. If you will ask me, Manomav has more than 21 plus upgrades in our systems, which will take a lot of time to explain you. As of now, how do we believe? We have integrated well with the automation world when it comes to construction industry. So when I say future with Manomav, it shows me the way. to start it right now. And everything what I have shown to you is integrated very well with the back office support team, which makes sure that we are giving a good experience to our customers. I hope with this new Manomav, you will enjoy doing the construction management on your projects. Hope to give you a better demonstrations with a lot of time, and I'm sure you will love this new way of doing the project management by the new generation of project managers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abhinav, for sharing that video. And that was brief about Manomav and how we are integrating technologies for modern construction and management. Now, for this 18th Pratham meeting, we will learn on design by innovation and innovation by design by Utssav Gupta. And before that, I would like to give a brief introduction about Utssav. So Utssav is a thought provoker, someone who shows a different perspective to the problem and instigates thought. He is an innovation catalyst, an author, and an entrepreneur deeply innovated in academia and as well as profession. The balance brings that out-of-box thinking in his work and approach with a different take to his situation. So Utssav is currently CEO of Creator Architects and founder of Black Swan Lab. He has developed frameworks such as outcome-driven model, inventive architecture, and neo-sustainability. Utssav works with entrepreneurs also to develop multiple ventures. He is having his own masterclass for that. So now, without wasting much time, I will invite Utssav Gupta to throw some light on today's topic, that is design by innovation and innovation by design. Welcome Utssav on board.
Thank you, Antrikshan. Thank you.
To welcome Utssav. That will give him some energy to put up.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot, Antrish, and the entire Pratham team for bringing me on board and sharing a little knowledge, whatever I've gained so far with all the participants. So, as you know, so before I begin, I would like to quickly check on the participants that what field they're coming from. I see we have 42 participants. If everybody can quickly type in into the chat box so that I can be more relevant to their field. What field are you coming from? Designer, managers, project construction, whatever you feel like. Can everybody quickly type on the chat box regarding what field they're coming from? Construction management, project management, design consultant, okay. Civil engineering, project management, architect, perfect. So a lot of people from variety of industries from within the construction industries. Great, I'm so happy that we all are here. So what I'm going to talk about is something that relates to almost entire construction sector. And the topic for today is design by innovation and innovation by design, all right? And the most candid thought I get when I introduce this theme to people is there a difference? Okay, so they pretty much look the same. Design by innovation and innovation by design. They pretty much feel the same. But what is the deeper, subtle difference between these two aspects of scenario, and how do you create that relationship? Now, architects are pretty much still, they are okay regarding the fact that okay, what innovation is. But today I want to give you a different perspective towards what innovation can do with design and what can really mean from an innovation science perspective. So let's see. So these are the common relationships. Can everybody see my slide well? I'm finding it really
yes,
glitchy here.
yes, it's so.
So these are some of the relationships that people think that they are prevailing notions within the market. So is innovation a subset of design? Is design a subset of innovation, or are they complementing sciences? Yeah. And I like to throw a perspective on over here. Let's unravel this entire mystery of which flows into what. How do we create a proper approach Is it going to be from design to innovation, or it is innovation design? And what are the effects that happen when you do so? So let me quickly share my story, which brought me all the way till here. I'm in the market entrepreneur. My I studied in UK and Delhi. I'm also a green side, and as currently as acting as a CEO for Swan Labs, which is basically an innovation systems for on entered the practice architecture into the creation of designs. Here, sorry, still glitchy.
There is a problem with the Utsav's connectivity. Utsav, your voice was broken.
Utssav, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I dropped out. Some with the connectivity. Can you forward me the right to share the screen, please? Okay, perfect. Now?
You can share screen. It's not.
Please confirm if you can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please reshare your screen.
Yeah, I've shared my screen. Why is it not flashing?
You need to reshare again. It's not visible. And I would request our participants to switch off video. I guess there is some bandwidth issue, so we can do that so that we can get some bandwidth to Utssav for this thing. Now, Utssav, it's visible. Yeah, it's visible. So we can say no me. The slide no me. You can see that. Can you hear Utssav?
Yeah, is it audible now?
Yes, now it is better.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about this. It seems like internet is an issue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log from a different computer so that the voice remains. And let me know if you can see my screen.
It is visible right now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so as I was telling, the journey for me began in 2007, where I joined when I started practicing architecture. And initially in my V years, we used to create some very interesting designs. And by 2013, I actually came to a deep query with myself of what my designs were doing, and that followed by the huge market shift that resulted in my business completely crashing down. And we had to make a hard choice. We had to make the hard choice of which way to go now and what to do. So by 2014, we took a stand and we started redeveloping the model of our company through innovation. Now, let me be clear over here. We are not talking about design innovation in this case. We're talking about business innovation. And as a result, we got some pretty good success in the early years, and that success kept on improving, which led to this moment of creating the Black Swan Lab and other things. And so in the subsequent years, we grabbed a couple of very innovative projects from workspaces of multinational companies to education in a high-rise sector to public developments, museum, healthcare. All of this happened after 2017 when we changed our approach, when our focus became something else. And that is what I'm trying to share today with you over this talk. Followed by that, I wrote this book called The Rebound, which talks about the innovation basics and how you can use the innovation as a strategy to disrupt your market. It's currently available on Amazon and has got rave reviews by all the followers who have read, including Chandan Goel, who is a CA from Blue Consulting Group. And I, of course, always also went on to give lectures, be part of juries, and teach innovation. I'm currently teaching innovation as well to a lot of entrepreneurs. So what does it mean? What does it mean to, as an innovation when we talk about that? What does it mean in the context of design? So I want you all to look at it like a new set of lenses. Yeah. So how you wear specs, which makes you look, which makes the vision clearer. I want to invite you all to look at the entire theory as a set of lenses, and just view what is happening in industry and how can we change that. Yeah. So far with me.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Now, if we break apart these two topics, design and innovation, let's talk about what design means to us in the first place. Is it the function? Is it aesthetics, sustainability, comfort for user? These are pretty much everything that we design, we associate our designs with. And we celebrate the space as such after creating the function, aesthetics, and sustainability. And that is a typical example of design to innovation. We start with a design and we innovate on these trajectories, the function, aesthetics, sustainability, and comfort to users. The approach that we follow is we start with an idea and then we analyze the possibilities, and then we sort of develop the design towards the further maturity. So from the lens of innovation, this is a classic case of product innovation, where you have this beautiful facade that has come out from rave ideas and thinking about the building, and we do whatever it takes to actually tweak this building facade towards sustainable goals. Now, the problem with this approach is that it starts with an idea, but the most ideas are found in a rather random fashion, right? So we come up with ideas. There's a series of iterations of ideas that we come up with, and if you go back to the slide, we analyze the possibilities, and then so accordingly we develop the design. And so also the innovations are pretty random because the ideas are found random. And so there is no particular goal as such that we are following. The goals are strictly meant for aesthetical and functional purposes. And so in the innovation world, a lot of innovations fail because we are always what we call is idea centric. We start with an idea, we develop that idea, and it leads to a certain way where it should lead. And a lot of innovations fail over there. Now let me delve this a little over here. 42% startups, they fail because there is no market need. Yeah, that's a statistics that have proven that 42% reason when the startups fail, the 42% startups are failing because there is no market need. So why did any venture went into a space where there is no market need? Well, one of the biggest reasons is because they started with an idea. And the idea, it carried them forward to a zone where they went inside a space where there is no market need. So that's one of the biggest threats of starting with an idea. And so when architects realize this, that okay, so we can be having multiple ideas, but then when you're looking at a scenario, when looking at context, those ideas do not seem to always fit into the bill. So then we came up with the process. We said that, okay, let's focus on the process and not just the design. And this philosophy led to development of a lot of processes, like how we have processes for every industry. In architecture, we have processes like generating algorithms, emergence of parametric design. We have something called as a design thinking, the EVO-DEVO, evolutionary development. And of course, there's a process for green architecture as well, stated by LEEDs, USGBC, GRIHA, or IGBC. There are various kinds of processes because of that. And thus, it leads us to the second part of the area of innovation, which is called as a process innovation, where the process takes the precedence over the idea. You drive the idea through a particular process that has been perfected and honed by a particular architect or a particular movement. And so, though it is much better than starting with a product, process has its own limitations. The biggest limitation that the process has is that one can clearly associate a process with a particular style. We do not need to tell that this is a Frank Gehry building. We just know, because we know that the process he follows leads to this kind of stuff. Likewise, if you look at this building on my right side, it depicts a particular style, and that style is associated to the architect or to the designer. And also, in a similar way, it can be pretty much attributed to an era, or one can create a monotonous sense of typology when we follow a process. So process is not bad. What we're trying to say is that process over a time, because of repetition, creates a mundane homogeneity, which was supposed to be heterogeneous, turns out to be very much homogeneous. And thus, at some point, the process becomes a product. And that's what the problem is, that there's a big gap between what are we really trying to solve over here? Even with the process in hand, are we solving the real problems? And this question needs to be asked in a much widened circle. We need to go beyond architecture and conventional building logic, whether we are managers or we are designers or we are anybody from the building industry. We need to solve this question. We need to solve this. We need to answer this question from away from the limitations of the building industry. Why is that? Why is that? Because our world is changing so fast that on every single scale, that we simply do not have time to actually keep on changing the processes. We do not have time to keep on changing the product. And so we have ever rising air pollution. People from Delhi very well know that it's already started here in Delhi, the smoke and all. So we have a fundamentally evolving green movement. And on the other hand, we have issues of well-being. One of them being the COVID, but pretty much lesser known issue is the issue of noise. So the picture on the right hand shows the open culture prevailing in the offices. And anybody who has worked in the open culture knows that the person who is sitting next to you, if he's making a phone call, well, you can't work. It just simply takes off the mind and the concentration from your work. And so it has gradually descended into frustrations and has impacted the well-being. And so design by innovation, though we are very innovative on these fronts, the problem is that these current two prevailing form of innovations are not able to bring the change in a fast manner as it's required by these changing values. Now we have COVID-19, and certainly the values are completely changed. We are looking at an infection control at a much higher rate than before. And so fundamentally, when we say think out of the box, fundamental issue is that we are still acting in a lot of randomness because we're completely driven by ideas rather than actually something else, in my opinion. And so the hypothesis for today is that instead of focusing on the phenotype, why don't we focus on the genotype of the building? Which means why would we go back where we started, the inception of the project, and start with those aspects that matter the most? So let me show you how. So this is the classic case from coming from innovation to design. We start focusing on the outcomes to change the status quo rather than just the process or the design. So when we talk about outcomes, we're looking at a human experience. We talk about customer lifecycle value. We talk about the business case for the design. We even talk about the carbon footprints. So human case and the business case and the carbon footprint typically makes the three Ps, the people, planet, and profit as we grow. And then we talk about how in this noisy world, architecture and the design creates empathy, and that becomes a front end for the businesses, which normally is taken over by technology, and architecture has taken a back seat. So when we talk about architecture today, these days, we have to really say, oh no, I'm the real architect, the brick and mortar architect, not the IT architect. So yeah, this is the era that we live in. So architecture has a lot of scope there, and we need to actually break free from the limitations to be able to embrace this. These are not the normal parameters that one thinks of, and the clients assume that our place starts after this. And so by having said that, we come to the third model of innovation, which is the model innovation. So we done the product innovation, we did the process. Now we talk about the model innovation, which is more towards looking at the inception level model itself, where the genetic makeup of any structure lies. And so this is the bottom up theory that we talk about. We get deeper into the priorities of the client. Yeah. We get deeper into the priorities of the client. Normally, the design happens at the operational front, but where I'm inviting everybody is to go deeper at the strategic level, all the way down to the purpose and the value of the client, and operate from here and see what you can derive to understand the scenario of the client, and then create an innovative strategy which leads to the design. And that is the classic case of design, innovation by design. And so eventually, yes, you will come back to the process and the product. But what my argument over here is start with the model first, and then come to the process, and then come to the product. Okay, yeah, this slide happened a little later. So with that in mind, I'm going to present 3 case studies from our studio, which will illustrate how we start with innovation as a beginning model, and then bring it back all the way to the process and the product. And the first case study for today is our caption image picture, the World Heartfulness Center. Why is it not updating? Can somebody confirm what they see on the screen? And are they able to see the project picture?
No, areas of innovation. So we are able to see that the slide where you have product, process, and model.
I think there's a bit of lag there. So this is a classic case of customer experience. So I'm so apologize for this.
It is still not visible.
Was that?
Yeah, it's not yet visible. Yeah, now it is visible.
Okay, perfect. So the World Heartfulness Center is in Hyderabad. It is the world's largest meditation center, capable of handling 1 lakh people at any given moment, up to 1 lakh. And the interesting story is, so this was inaugurated in February by our President of India, Shri Ramnath Kovind. And so again, my screen is stuck. Hello.
Yeah, so.
Okay, I switched the computer.
Yeah,
and okay, perfect. Whatever works. Yeah. So this beautiful center was inaugurated by the president in just February before the COVID happened. And as you can imagine, having a world headquarters, 1 lakh people, sounds very fancy. But let's quickly dwell for a moment behind the story of how we actually started that, because that's the theme for today, and that's what I'm trying to bring in. So there is a philosophy in innovation sciences called jobs to be done. where we say that people do not buy the product, they actually hire the product for something else. And it has various dimensions into it, being the functional dimension and the emotional dimension, related to the personal and the social strata, and then of course the related jobs. I won't go deep into it, but let me just give a set of context to how we are using this philosophy. So the moment this project came to us and we had to create the first few sketches of how the design, I immediately realized that the challenge that we are facing we have in front of us is a mammoth one. Simply, the client had given us the brief to make a big hall, where they can house that many people in single go. And so when I plotted the site and the design, I compared that with the basic structures that we have, everyday structures that we have, I found out that it is as big as a Delhi Terminal 3 and as wide a span as London Heathrow Airport. And that was a huge thing. That was a very, very huge number that we're talking about. And being an ashram, we do not have that kind of cost. We all know the effects of stampede. People come in, and then of course it's a place of religion, so the chappals have to be taken off, and that becomes a point of that becomes a huge risk factor. Plus, being an ashram, these halls are not air conditioned, so you're talking about natural airflows, managed being throughout. And so our philosophy, we started searching for answers to these problems, and one of the biggest problems that we were figuring out was that how are they going to use this hall? What is the pattern of usage being the main jobs to be done? And what I realized was that they only have 12 to 15 days per annum where they're going to use the hall for the large capacity. And rest of the time, this hall is not going to be used in that kind of capacity. In fact, not even 1/10. And they have multiple programs to handle as a part of the training program. And it became very clear to me that if we make one big hall, it is going to stand like a giant elephant, which has to be fed, maintained all throughout the year, only for those 15 days. And so my approach was to actually break this hall in a manner which makes sense. And through breaking that hall, what we were trying to achieve was we were not only just trying to create a fragmented space for different purposes, but at the same time, we were also trying to create an open space environment in the middle, create a customer, the human experience, build in the human experience behind it. The functional aspects get solved because when how people are getting managed in the high volume days is now all fragmented instead of having a single point of fracture. We also attained microclimate by bringing in some greens around the halls. And we also fragment the problem which we have by just a single hall. A single hall now is multiple halls now deal with less number of people, which means lesser amount of carbon dioxide being exhaled. So I can manage my airflows better. And so this idea, this entire approach gave rise to the project. We started plotting in the movement. We started plotting in the line of sight so that everybody can see the master. And this is how it was coming under construction. And this is how, with all the developed greens and everything, the fire movement, the ambulance movement in case there is an emergency, all the risk factors have been taken care of. It does not compromise with the human efficiency and the human experience. This is how the hall is when we look from inside. And so this philosophy was the starting point for this design. So that is what I mean by innovation by design. Innovation itself gives the perfect platform for design to evolve. And design, in order to do that, it forms the process and then comes to the mainstream. So another example I want to speak about today is that of Apex Hospital.
So stop screen sharing.
Okay. Today internet is giving us a very, very hard time. Wow. Somebody will think I'm crazy. I'm working with 3 computers. Let me know if you see the screen.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, we can.
Okay, perfect. So Apex Hospital in Jaipur. It's a classic case of empathy-driven design. Now, against a very technical scenario of a healthcare, where I'm trying to propose this project as a customer empathy-based design, and the story behind this project is that in a scenario of upcoming corporate hospitals, this hospital is a very family-oriented hospital. There is a set of doctors who run it, and they have very family values. So they are not commercially driven. But it doesn't matter what you think. What matters is what the competition provides as a scenario. And so if you look at the Bermuda Triangle, how we call it, which is what is faced by all the businesses, I won't dwell deeper into it, but if this is your company value and this is your customer's value, customer's value is based on segment and it is always changing. So here is where the sustainability factor lies. But in order to generate profitability, you need to create a value proposition which is driven from the uniqueness, and that uniqueness comes from how you're different from the competitor's value. In this case, the competition was taking over, and of course we had to generate very different values from what the competition stood for in that area. And so as a management and as a team, brainstorming team, we decided that our uniqueness will be customer experience. We want to redesign the customer journey for the healthcare. We want to project empathy through and through. The moment a person stands in front of the hospital, he should feel empathetic. He should feel the empathy relation with the infrastructure. And so how this hospital looked initially, and we gradually converted this into how it stands now, which is like this. Yeah, can you feel the difference? Can you feel the difference on the empathy scale between these two facades? Give me something on the chat so that I know that I'm not boring you. Great. And so of course the hospital has various aspects to it. We have the master planning, we have the trauma, we have the technology, we integrated AI ML over here. But at this moment, I'm projecting this case study as a case study of empathy, and you can see how the ICUs are based. Hello.
Yes, Utssav, we can listen.
Yeah. Okay. So how the ICUs have been converted into empathy based, how we have taken care of the noise level and the light quality, how we have taken care of the outdoor and indoor locations. The rooms are quite developed like a residence, and so these are all driven. These all factors have been driven from how we want a customer to feel. So this infrastructure design has led to a bounce back for the my client's business. We have, in fact, the vision became so strong that the venture capitalist entered the business, and now this business is thriving even in the COVID times. So I still remember that time in 2016, 2017, when I went there and took my first workshop with them to change the vision of how we are attempting the problem. And through the innovation, this entire scenario took place. How much time do we have, Antriksh? I want to present one more case study if we have time.
Yeah, so we can carry on. You can present one more.
Okay. So in another case study, let me get back to the Bermuda Triangle, and this time we'll attack the sustainability part of the trajectory. And in this case, sustainability normally means business sustainability, but that also comes from sustainability of the entire viability of the entire project. And so normally, in terms of sustainable factors, we regard as the primary efficiency. The building has to be efficient, the building has to be performative, the building needs to have values, building has to have user experience, or we talked about. But let's look at the green building concept of the sustainable side of how sustainability pans out from an innovation perspective. So when we look at sustainability at large, again the screen is stuck. So when we look at enhancing the sustainability or the performance, the conventional notion is be energy efficient. Simply have lesser air energy demand in the building. So use less, pollute less. Another facet of sustainability is program efficiency. So how can you create a better program, or how can you smartly program your building so that you build less? And then Lee talks about building as a in urban void, so that at a macro level, the infrastructure that has already been laid by the government, you utilize the infrastructure more instead of having to create a building somewhere outside. These are the prevailing notions that are available already and are being practiced very well in the green building movement. But I want to invite you to look at it in another way, which is a secondary program. So do more with less. Can our buildings transform from one phase to the other, in which in those times that it has not been used for the primary function? So this is the approach that we use in the Raj Soin Hall at DTU, Delhi Technological University, Bhavana. Uh, it's a convertible multipurpose hall. The scale of this building required us to have a hall which is going to house 3,500, around 3,500 people. And conventionally, a 3,500 people hall would have been attempted in either the two ways. Either we would have gone for a flat structure, which means a very, very flat, large, big hall with a shed on the top. And that will give us an issue of that last people would not be able to see the stage. Or we would have gone for an auditorium style, which means a stepping, and you have the seats which are there on the top. And these are two very rudimentary ways of approaching this problem. And the benefits and the disadvantages are that though the auditorium style will allow the primary function to happen well, which is visual, keeping a vision, bringing the vision of every single person sitting inside towards the stage. The downside is that it cannot be used for any other purpose but the auditorium. So we came up with a mixed strategy. We came up with understanding of the fact that how can you actually use the best of both the worlds to create a sustainable building where the building becomes convertible. Half the time it is used for function A and half the time you will use for function B. So let's look at that. What we did was we understood of the various critical line of sight that happens within this building. And so you have a flat seating in front of the stage, and then you have a step seating towards the rear of the stage. And what that brings us is, it brings us a sectional arrangement of something like this. Under the full capacity of the seating, 3,500 seating, this is the seating that is already there on stands, and you bring in more chairs, which makes this hall a full-fledged auditorium style, being able to handle convocations and stuff like that. That was a primary function of the client. But under the circumstances where it is not having that kind of capacity, we remove this chair, we get this flat zone, and now not only you can have a half auditorium, but you can also have sports. You can also have activities on the floor. You can have ballets, you can have competitions, you can have lots of things that an institution wants, a conventional, a regular university requires us to do. And so suddenly by integrating this secondary program on the building, I'm able to bring much more sustainability into my building. The same carbon footprint is being used more. The same material, the same maintenance cost is being used more. Otherwise, the thought is that this building would have been standing there and the client would have had to prepare a different building, which itself is a cost-intensive, capital-intensive, resource-intensive project. So that thought line brought this project in hand. This is how it is coming into construction. By the way, it is one of the largest spans in India, 100 meters in steel. It's currently been erected at site. The auditorium is being constructed. This is just from the last week. And so suddenly, do I have a different way of looking at sustainability? I'm able to bring more value in the given carbon footprint. I'm able to bring more program efficiency. Okay, the slide is again not changing. Yeah, sorry about that. So this is the pictures from the last week, as I was telling. Yeah. So what I was saying was that, do I have more value in the given carbon footprint? I already have invested this much in the building, but just when we start thinking from the innovation perspective, we have sort of, using a secondary program, enhanced the value which we are driving out of that carbon footprint. We also have more program efficiency. We have less capital cost because now we are building 2 buildings into one, and we also have less running cost. So this is what I mean by innovation by design. The innovation inherently brings those kind of qualities into the architecture. And so if you look at all these projects, there is some story involved within these. I have covered 2 of them, what on the bottom left, right corner. And so this is my argument from today, that how can we focus on the outcomes to change the status quo? We start with an innovation and then we bring it to design. Use a different lens to look at innovation at things. Go deeper and expand your limits much beyond what conventionally we're working at. As a building managers and as building professionals, we need to actually look at, we need to go towards the client, we need to handhold them. And because this is the insight that they do not have. It's our job to bring in that insight, and we got to be out of the page. We got to jump out of the page to be able to bring that value in architecture through this. So yeah, focus on the unknown. So let's like this picture where we do not have the bulb. The bulb is just, outline is just created through how the hand is placed. Innovation is just like that. Innovation is about seeing into unknown. So when you focus on the unknown, and how you focus on the unknown is by asking the right questions. Start with the why. You come up with scenarios. We plot these scenarios using various kind of innovation models, and that's what gives us the insight of what needs to do. And this, to me, ladies and gentlemen, is really about thinking about things differently. Out of the box for us starts like that. So yeah, a really glitchy presentation, but I hope I was able to communicate the value that today this platform wanted to offer to you all. Yeah, that's it for me. Thank you all guys for being so patient. I open the floor now for the questions.
Yeah, thanks, Utssav. You can stop screen sharing. Thanks, Utssav. It's a very wonderful insight, and you change the perspective issue. We see the design and all that with your 3 designs and 3 case studies.
Sure.
And now, the floor is open for questions. So you can raise your hands. I will unmute you. I will ask you to unmute, and then you can unmute. You can virtually raise your hands through participants. Or you can write on chat box also if you have any questions. So I would like to call upon the known person here, few of the people, if they have any questions. Ravikant, Amanat, Neeraj, vegan architect. Any questions you have? Mr. Angdeep.
Okay, so I have a question for the audience. Have I able to change the perspective of how you look at innovations through this presentation and the case studies? Just give me something on the chat box. Yes, no, skeptical.
Sorry, I was on mute. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, Angdeep, Mr. Angdeep, you are audible.
There is some audio issue. I can't hear you guys.
We can hear you, Angdeep. We can.
Go for it. Yeah? We can hear you.
I guess there's some issue. You can write, Angdeep, you can write. Abhinav, can you put up the message? So anyone else have any question? And if I can answer the question of Utssav. So Galaxy, yeah, you can unmute. Galaxy.
Sorry, I think there's some technical glitch on my side. You please continue. I'll sort it.
You are audible.
You can write in chat box.
Okay, so we have a show of hand. We can probably go for that.
Yeah. So Galaxy S7, I'm not having the name. Can you just unmute, and you are on mute, so you can unmute yourself and then you can have a question. I guess there is no. So Kapil sir, Mr. Kapil Mehta, Tandu Das, any questions you have in mind, or you can answer the question of Utssav in the chat box.
Antariksh, I was writing my reaction to the presentation made on the chat box, and I have a meeting just now. Someone is waiting for me in the other room, and I'm just putting down my reaction to this. Thank you so much for inviting me. And Utsav, it was really a great presentation, and it's me and many of attendees would have certainly changed their perspective on looking at architecture. And I loved your notion on empathy architecture. It was certainly a great idea, and you might have transformed in a very short presentation. I am not able to understand that how the empathy architecture has been practiced into a hospital project in Jaipur. But surely I would go through sometime somewhere. It might have been media print would be there, or somewhere it definitely must be published. Or if you can give me some chance to know more about this project, I would love to have it. Thank you so much and best of luck.
Thank you, sir. Utssav, you're on mute.
Hi, thanks for your wonderful comments. If you want to know more about this project, it's there on our website. We can connect offline and I can show you more on that.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kapil.
Hey, hi, Utssav. Hi, Antariksh. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible. Andeep, you are audible.
Hey, Utssav, you have, I think, wonderfully articulated the design concepts and the architecture principles, and how we can use innovation in architecture area to reduce our carbon footprints and all. I really like this presentation. But I was just one point. I don't know whether that would be the right fit or not, but just one point. When we are talking about carbon footprints, I mean, we have not discussed anywhere the materials that we are using or we plan to use in our buildings. So yes, of course, the creative innovation or the multi-purpose use of any structure would definitely help you, right? But the right or the certain innovation in deciding the building materials would also help on the on reducing the carbon footprints. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, how would that evolve in the sense, architectures and whether it's considered engineers area or what, I don't know.
Yeah. So great question. So let me outline this a little over here. All the existing methods of sustainability and creating a carbon friendly buildings are all great. The material dimension, the energy dimension, we are not debating that at all. What we are saying is that at a macro level, at an absolute macro level, when we are at the outset of the project, the case studies that I've shown, we have gone to the depth of the material. But right now, what I'm trying to communicate is that at the outset itself, when you set the project rightly through innovation theories, naturally, a case, if you compare a case where the innovation is used and where innovation is not used, we find it better that the innovation side brings inherent advantages when you're looking at a sustainability. Once you're done with that, we're not saying that the energy efficiency or the materials should not be used. Absolutely, it must be, because that's for some other dimensions of it. But those effects are multiplied if the project is being set rightly from the outset. Make sense?
Yeah, true.
Got it. Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks, Utssav. Any more questions? Mr. Murari, Mr. Ramvilas, Mr. Ashay, Mr. Kuldeep, Neeraj. Any more questions? So can you repeat your question so that I can also put up on my mind on that? I actually missed that.
So yeah, my endeavor, as you know, has always been about teaching innovations and trying to change and bring in some shift in understanding of this very rudimentally understood concept. So yeah, I was just throwing a question to our audience that if I was able to bring a change in how we look at innovations, especially now in the building industry.
Yeah. So for me, it's sort of a change. Like I never seen from that perspective and using the Bermuda Triangle if I am getting something in the design thing. Obviously, I am a civil engineer and I'm a project manager guy, but yeah, I never thought of that process that architect इस तरह से भी सोच के design कर रहे हैं. So that's a great change in moving forwards. And for the other guys, you also started a WhatsApp community, which will be only used to update you for the next Pratham meeting. So if you guys are interested, you can obviously do that. So Abhinav shared the screen of Pratham also. Now, if you don't if you have any other question, let me know. You can ask it.
Utssav, I love the concept of the status quo which you have shared, right? So it itself made it as a process. Like every time when something is established, you have to challenge that status quo. That was really interesting when you shared about it.
So I have a question from Naveen. So how we can make some solution for food industry projects where food safety is highly recommended, and how we can reduce construction material for the same, because Macs are using RCC. So Mr. Naveen has asked this question.
So it's a specific question. I would need to understand a little more in the case. If we can connect offline and if you can share a little more details on what exactly is being built for, I'm sure I can throw some insights into it.
Thanks, Naveen, for the question. You can connect to Utssav directly for this because it was a specific question.
Antik, Jason Henry is from Galaxy 7.
But it is like he's not actually.
I'm logging behind.
So that's if any more question is, if anyone has any more question, Anil, Arun.
I have a question if I can ask.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so actually I am student and I am not from architecture background, but my question is pretty wide. That how do we increase our to bring more innovation in like if
how do we what? Sorry.
Yeah, how do we increase our creativity in
Sorry,
general?
you're breaking up. Say again.
Yeah, I'm saying how do we increase our creativity in general to bring more innovation in our business? Like I really like the idea that most of the startup, they are idea centric and they don't actually have the need. So how do we increase the creativity so that we can actually solve real problems?
Okay. So I'll tell you how I have done it. Naturally, I'm being an architect. This stuff was not was there in our curriculums. What you have to do is you have to actually start picking up the textbooks and the information that is around, and you have to be a little more observant. Try and look at every single case from a lens of research and observation, and see what is happening. Especially see what is not happening. Where is the gap? Because we often see what is right in front of our eyes. But innovation, I strongly believe, lies in what is not there, what is not evident. If you can catch that, it requires some kind of brain training, but that happens over time. So to get started, initial materials like some books and references can help. So this is how I went about it. I don't know if there is any other way and what the professor's method would be, but innovation by practice is what I believe in.
Yes, thank you, sir, for the answer. So guys, any more questions?
Yes, can we have cameras turned on for a group photograph?
You can stop sharing screen.
Right. Can you all turn on our videos? Hello, am I audible?
So Galaxy S7, you are unmute now. You have a question?
No, sir. No, sir. No.
Okay.
Right. So can we just turn on our videos? Yes, everyone. We had a 1 hour long session. Let's have a group feel with Utssav. Utssav is well known in innovation industry, right? So it is good that we all got a chance to learn from him about the innovation. Can we all turn on our cameras? Murari, Galaxy, Punjab Machineries, Akhil, Rambilas, Kuldeep ji, Anil ji, Ashay, Antanu ji, Arun ji, Kuldeep ji, Arun ji, Mahesh ji, Rajiv ji, Naveen ji, Neeraj ji, please turn on your cameras. Right. Right. So we are going to click a photograph. Thank you. Thank you for turning on your cameras. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Over to you, Antriksh.
So now we will end this session, and really thank you all for coming and having this session. And we will keep you updated about the next Pratham meeting. And thank you once again for the session. So we'll end this session now.
Thank you guys once again.
Thank you, Utssav, for all the things. Thank you so much.
Thank you.